15.033. New fastest lap for you. .98. Just set your fastest lap of the session.
Alright, let's take a look at that. So if you haven't seen my ARCA or truck video, the program I'm using in Windows to telestrate stuff is been deleted by Microsoft apparently. So I'll figure out what I'm doing by next week, but I don't have time to redo all this. So we're just going to look at the video file, and the inputs are kind of hidden. I'm sorry about that. I'll talk you through as best I can. Feel free to go back to the beginning of the video and see what I'm talking about in terms of inputs. So this is going to be a second lap pot lap. Just run the first lap, kind of easy. Nothing crazy, just don't push too hard. Don't smoke your tires for no reason. So we're gonna 3 and 4. This is 3 and 4 of our first lap. We are going to go to the top here, and we pretty much just let the car coast for a little bit. Then once we get about halfway through the corner, we pick up the throttle about half, let the car turn down the hill, and then go full throttle once we get to the very exit. Really, you can't go full throttle that early doing this. So don't worry that you can't get to full throttle super early. It's still a lot more momentum than the alternative. So that's the shape that you're looking for. So now we're going to be running the bottom in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. This track is cool enough to where the bottom is a very viable play over the top. The top is both riskier and not quite as fast. I really like the bottom here. So we're going to be doing a trail brake about 15 to 20%. Make sure to make your early entry, aim the car where you want it to go before the banking even transitions. And then we just wrap the car around the bottom. We transition from a partial brake to a partial throttle once we make the bottom. And then we just hold that 50% throttle until we're able to unload the wheel, and then we go full throttle. It'll get a little loose. Notice how it gets loose right here. It gets loose under full throttle. So if I were to go full throttle later, it would be less loose, but I'd lose time. If I go full throttle earlier, I would spin out because it's not possible. So just keep practicing with that and see what you can push. Same idea with 3 and 4. I kind of missed the bottom, so I did a little bit of a late apex, and that turned out to be really fast. Didn't expect it to be that fast, but I guess it makes sense because I was able to get on the throttle earlier. So trail brake into partial throttle, and then hold the partial throttle until you can unload the wheel, then full throttle. Again, we're getting loose here, so don't think about going full throttle any earlier or else you're going to spin out. A lot of people are like, well, why does my car keep spinning out? I don't understand. Like 90% of the time, the reason people spin out, self-spin, is because they're going full throttle while their wheel is still turned and it's not moving back towards the center. So once you understand that, you will almost never self-spin ever again. But that's kind of a general tip. Now let's go take a look at the long run. All right, now let's talk about long run. So this is going to be a lot like the truck long run if you saw me talk about that, but I am here to say I like the bottom for Bristol long run. Now it's all about keeping the heat, and mostly the heat, but also the wear of your tires balanced as the run goes on, and some setups will do something differently. So this setup you could build loose or tight, and I think this setup will end up building tight, and when the setup builds tight, you want to run the bottom as long as you can. If it was starting to build loose though, then maybe you can start mixing in the top and kind of evening the heat out. But I let off really early into the corners. You see, it's not losing me too much, a tenth here or there, but in terms of a Bristol race, that's not much. And you see I'm just rolling the bottom. This is how I'm going to be saving my tires. Early braking, get to the bottom, trail brake on the bottom, straight to the partial throttle, and just roll that until you can go full throttle. I went full throttle too early there and almost hit the wall. That was kind of a good example of what happens when you hit the full throttle too early. You gotta be patient. You can't jump the gun, or else you're just gonna slide up the track. So just partial, hold, then full throttle up the hill. There we go. Very consistent lap times down here too. Partial, full throttle up the hill. Less than 2/10 off our best, so it's gonna be really good. Now this probably isn't the line if you're in the middle of a big pack defending. You might want to run the top there because it is pretty even. I'll run a lineup. I'll run a lap up top to show you how even the times are right now.
15.244.
Probably underdrove that just a tad. It's a lot easier to drive the bottom than the top because you can underdrive the bottom and get the same times as if you were trying really hard up top. So it was like, even with that line, which probably wasn't the best, it was about half a second slower, I probably could get another tenth or so out of it. So it's about even, I would say. But this bottom, I just really like this bottom, especially in the Xfinity car. It's a little sketchy in the truck, as you see if you watch the other video. But this bottom of the Xfinity car, you just roll it. Super simple. Drag brake. Get back on the partial throttle, roll it, roll it, roll it. And then full throttle when you're almost on the straightaway. That's it.
15.266.
And it looks slow at first glance, but then you see the lap times and you're like, hey, you're not falling off that much. Hey, your tires are doing pretty good even though you look like you're going slow. And that's what it's all about here. It's all about preserving what you got.
15.296.
Just finding the line that you can do the most effortlessly while still maintaining a decent pace. That was a little loose and I mashed full throttle for like no reason. So let's say we start getting a little bit too loose on the bottom, then we kind of mix in some middle lines maybe. I still don't think it's that fast though. And it's just, the B car is a little bit harder to keep off the wall in these situations because if you overdrive the corner, you really have no shot at staying off the wall. So you just got to be disciplined on your corner entries no matter where you're going. That's a little better. See, it's pretty even though. So listen to your car. If you're getting really, really loose for under throttle, maybe try to move to the top, distribute the heat a little bit back to the right front. But if you find your car getting too tight, just roll the bottom. Roll the bottom, be patient down here. You're going to feel slow, but I promise you, it's fine. Okay, let's check our tires. I have a feeling it was pretty even. I might have worn a little bit more front in this car. We'll see. 96, 95. Okay, so that's about as even as you can get. One more tick on the rear, so that's actually really good. So you might want to balance a little bit on your line. Seems like running on the bottom over and over again, you might see a little bit of rear heat that you aren't looking for. So if you feel that, feel free to move to the top for a couple laps and feel the car out. It's all dynamic. That's the fun of ovals, right? All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and hope to see you all on the track.